Hello, Internet. I'm Matt.
And I'm Monster Punter.
And this is a special episode of the Parallax Scrolling Podcast, where we normally give you news about video games and
stuff.
Yeah. You can already tell by the title, this is a special tribute episode. It was recently learned that the creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, passed away on March 1st. And so we wanted to make a special episode because he has had such a massive impact on not just anime, but like all forms of current media. So I just wanted we wanted to do something nice for him and give you guys some context for those who are just now learning through us, which would be impressive. Akira Toriyama passed away on March 1st. He was 68 years old. And he passed away from an acute subdural hematoma, which I believe is just a brain bleed. And from what people are saying is he got it because he was overdoing it. He was working constantly. So I'm not entirely sure about that part, but I know he passed away from the brain bleed, and it was much too soon. Definitely much too soon. This man has had a massive impact, like I said. And the reason why he's on the video game podcast is because he's had a massive impact on video games. If you didn't know, he was the original artist for Dragon Quest, the whole Dragon Quest series. You can see his artwork just permeate through that series. And in fact, even Dragon Quest 8 is pretty much, it looks like Dragon Ball characters, 100%.
Sure.
Yeah. But he's also the artist behind Chrono Trigger. And if you know us, you know that I love that RPG.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So this is hard for me because one of the things I do in my, what little downtime I use, I go on like TikTok, and I'm constantly seeing people just flood their support over the whole platform for Toriyama. And obviously, I'm not going to begrudge them that, but it's still hard to see when it's like a truth you don't want to face, a fact you don't want to recognize. But yeah, I figured this would be just a good time for us to talk about Toriyama and what Toriyama meant to both of us. And yeah, I don't know how you feel about that.
I mean, I mostly learned about him through Dragon Ball, and I never played Chrono Trigger. I played a few of the Dragon Quest games. I big Dragon Ball fan though.
You had which was, what's the name of it? The one that was literally based off his artwork. Like he was, I think the head creator of the whole thing was about the kid and the dragon. Like,
Blue Dragon?
Dragon.
I never got Blue Dragon.
I thought you did.
No, I never got Blue Dragon.
I remember one thing I remember about that is I saw gameplay of it, and whenever they got to a boss fight, there's just like a theme song, like da 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 da. It's just like this is so cool. But yeah, I think he's just had a big impact on our lives. Anyways, like you're a huge Dragon Ball fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely enjoy him. And I've enjoyed his content for a long time, at least 30 years, I'd say.
At least. Yeah,
at least. It's a hard pill to swallow, and we're kind of doing this whole episode off the cuff, but just everything just matters when I look at how much of an impact he's had on just not just anime, not just video games, but like just the media genre in its entirety. Like everyone has responded to his passing, and everyone has said how much of an impact he's had on their lives. And I don't think I can honestly think of another artist who has crossed so many lines of media and crossed into so many worlds that people are like, no, I'm heavily inspired by this. There was the point where like the creators of Naruto and One Piece came out and called him sensei and said that they learned everything they could from him. There was a a lot of the artists that worked with him gave out their condolences and their acknowledgments, but they also said how much of an impact he's had on their lives. So much so, I don't know if you saw them, but there's been multiple panels of Toriyama from the Dragon Ball perspective. Some involved his what they call a self-sona, like what his identity if he was in the world. He looks like a little robot with a gas mask kind of thing on his face. They have that guy like meeting Kami for the first time. He's like, "Oh, I've been so eager to meet you, Goku." I'm trying to do a terrible Kami voice, but the one I remember clearly is where it's a little comic of the King of Hell getting to greet Toriyama as a person, an actual person, and there's just so much fan appreciation going out there for him, and just that. Oh, man, this is tough.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's tough because like it's hard to just say, like, to put everything out there and say like, oh, this guy's had so much of an impact. But I definitely wanted to try. So, let me ask you this. Let's do some little fun tidbits. Who is your favorite Dragon Ball character? In the history of Dragon Ball, living or dead, who's your favorite character?
My favorite character in Dragon Ball?
I know. There's a lot of
them. That's a tough one. Either Yamcha, only because he just eternally has bad luck, pretty much. Possibly Gohan.
Yeah.
I'm team Gohan on a lot of things. Piccolo, because as far as like character growth and change, he has had one of the largest arcs outside, even maybe more so than Vegeta.
Actually, I think Vegeta has the biggest character redemption arc, but I think Piccolo is definitely up there.
I don't know if I necessarily agree. If you look at from the King Piccolo saga all the way to today, I think as far as like somebody whose personality has changed and become somebody totally different, and so it's so unrecognizable to what they were when they were first introduced.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I think
it would be Piccolo, but so it'd be probably Piccolo.
Yeah. So we finished Super. We were kind of waiting on the next. I forget the name of it now. They've already mentioned it.
Well, the next episode's in Super.
No, it's gonna be called the next series is called Dragon Ball. I forget the name of it, but it's supposed to be chibi characters.
Okay.
It is completely Toriyama's.
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, it's completely Toriyama's plan. It's supposed to come out sometime, I think, later this year even. But so we have finished Super. Obviously, I enjoy characters like Whis, who have the knowledge and they understand everything, and they're not going to let you in on the secret, but they do it because it's fun to torment you. But then I also have respect for characters like Beerus, who you can really see has a definitive change in personality in a very short amount of time. But I think my favorite Dragon Ball character out of everybody, it's got to be Krillin. Because Krillin is literally a man in the realm of the gods. You know, he's just a dude trying his absolute best to keep up with these super beings. If Krillin had a more tragic backstory and wore a cape, he'd be Batman. All right, I think that's the truth of it.
I don't know, he's not a gadget guy, but it's
no, but I mean, like, he could be, is what I'm saying. Like, but it's that same level, like Batman on the same playing field as Superman and beings of that level of power, and then it's Krillin and Goku and friends, and it's just like, you gotta root for the little guy, especially when he gets dumped on so much.
I think though that one of the things you have to take away from Akira Toriyama's life, though, just in general, is more of like a cautionary tale of burnout and
absolutely
overwork. There was a point in time where he hated his own creation. He hated Dragon Ball thought it was the worst. And when you have to create a comic every single week without fail, every week of the year, which is what you have to do when you were in, at least I can't speak to current day, but I know when he was doing Dragon Ball, the Shonen Jump magazine came out every single week, and you had to have an episode ready every single week. And
I'd say we understand that far too well. Actually,
sure, but
I mean, you look at YouTube in its entirety. If you want to stay relevant and you want to stay popular, you got to put something out. You got to be constantly in people's faces. So I can understand from that angle what Toriyama was going through, and he was only working on Dragon Ball at that one. You know, he was only doing that one project, so I could understand him getting burnt out and hating it.
Well, yeah. But here's the funny thing. Like he got so burnt out. After when he finished up Dragon Ball, he didn't do anything for a while. Again, he didn't really have to because, the money he had built up from Dragon Ball was immense, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But here's the thing, like, he did something, the most iconic, like, random trivia right now, people.
Awesome.
The most iconic transformation in all of anime, possibly even video games in general, the Super Saiyan transformation. One of the whole reasons the main reason this all came around is because he didn't want to ink Goku's hair every single frame. So he created this transformation, and Goku's hair in the comics was the white.
Which is the blank page color.
Yeah, so he didn't have to ink Goku's hair that whole half of the fight when he was fighting Vegeta. And so that was one of the main reasons. It's just laziness, but laziness.
And how much of an impact does Super Saiyan alone have on everything? I mean, the most obvious one is supersonic, right?
Sure.
Like, you can go to Sonic the Hedgehog and like, oh, he turned Super Saiyan because he collected the 7 pieces of jewelry and was able to transform. Oh, you mean like Goku? It's really kind of important to understand. Like, I think that the concept of character transformations in a modern viewpoint directly come from Toriyama in that idea. And the thing that comes from him just being lazy was awesome.
As far as Sonic is concerned, it was definitely an homage. And
oh, absolutely.
They made no bones about that. That's exactly what that was.
Oh, yeah.
But, people criticized Dragon Ball for a long time. It's not so much a criticism now. People just yelling and powering up for several episodes. But when you have to put out something every week and you have writer's block, whenever he had writer's block...
He just did a power-up episode.
Yeah, power-up episode. There you go. There's something there for the week. So you can thank, that whole... several episodes that everybody, if you watch the original Dragon Ball Z, of them just powering up, that's why they were doing it. It's because they had nothing else to really think through.
Right, and for people who don't want to sit through, how many episodes? Like 300-some episodes?
279 or something.
Okay. If you don't want to watch all those episodes of Dragon Ball Z, and you want to skip the powering up episodes, Dragon Ball Kai.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Kai.
Dragon Ball Kai is literally just Z truncated. And it's worth a watch. But yeah, I just think... I also think back to... do you remember Xenogears?
Of course I do.
Yeah. The main character, Faye, when he finally gets his limiter unleashed or broken, and he's allowed to start doing his amazing hyper moves and everything.
Mm-hmm.
One of the easiest ones for him to do is where he jumps up into the air and just launches a barrage of energy balls at his target. That is 1,000% from Goku doing that. It's 100% from that. It's 100% from Dragon Ball. So, yeah, Toriyama had such this... I'm going to keep saying it. He had such an impact on video games and media, characters transforming, even bad guys. I think that isn't the concept of this isn't even my final form. Doesn't that come from Toriyama in some way?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, so he's had this a massive media presence, and it's hard to recognize that he's gone. But at the same time, I love what has happened through his passing. And I got to explain that in a second. When the world started to find out that Toriyama passed away, people started organizing events. And the one I think of in particular is every Dragon Ball game that has a lobby for multiplayer, where you go into a little hub and you meet all the other characters. They organized events for all the players, and everyone showed up. And they show up into the hubs, and they all did the Spirit Bomb emote. Just, they were giving him their energy. And that's touching, and I'm sure there are other games that have had something like that too, right? But that's just the one those are the ones I know for a fact. And I've seen so many artists come out in drawing little blurbs and excerpts of things. I think the one I saw that was great was some Italian artist put out a piece, and it was Goku and Vegeta as camp counselors at a summer camp, and all the current main anime characters are all little children, and they're all like Goku's telling a spooky story around the campfire, and all the kids are circled around him. Like he's got Midoriya and Naruto and Luffy and all these other people. And then off in the distance, you see Vegeta trying to teach some kid how to fish, and it's the coolest picture. I'll try to see if I can put it in here. Well, I'll see what I can do, but because you got to give credit to where credit's due. But yeah, it's tough, and I would love to make this more of an epic podcast special, but I kind of feel like any extra words I say at this point are meaningless.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this, likely you know about him.
Yeah,
probably enough already, but
I also wanted to give our fair respects, pay our respects, and share some of our favorite things about Toriyama's work. I mean, obviously, I'm going to talk about Chrono Trigger. I love Chrono Trigger. I love the art style. Always rooted for the little guy. So Chrono was definitely my main man. And when he died, I've even learned a hint that I could save him. I'm like, guess what? We're going on an adventure, and we're going to save this little guy. But yeah, his impact is going to be missed. It'll be interesting to see how the stories continue. Because I know for a fact that Toriyama didn't have an end for Dragon Ball. He never had one planned. I do know at one point he had planned to kill Vegeta, but people loved him too much. He's like, nope, he's got to stick around.
Well, his storytelling was very much not planned.
Yeah.
He kind of just, as he wrote, things just kind of happened, and he didn't plan super far into the future. And because of his writing style, there have been people in the past that have just been simply forgotten about because he's forgotten about them.
Oh yeah, I mean, but of course the fans will remember them always and bring them up, and then when he does bring up the people, it's such a cool concept. Like when he brought back Arale from Dr. Slump, the whole Dr. Slump universe, he decided to intertwine it in Dragon Ball Super. It's like, oh, so those universes exist? And then you go back, you look at some of the old manga panels from Dr. Slump, you're like, okay, Arale just cut the planet in half. How did they not address this in Dragon Ball? But it's just tough. I think I'm interested to see what will happen in the future with the current IPs that have come out from Toriyama, but I just don't know if they'll have the same impact anymore. I don't think they'll have as much of a grip on people. I don't know.
With respect to Dragon Ball, Toya Toro is basically heading that right now. And it's more or less Akira was just kind of giving it the rubber stamp of approval, really, at this point.
Okay.
And maybe he consulted him for some direction and other things like that, but I think Dragon Ball's probably in good hands because most of Dragon Ball Super has been basically that.
Yeah, like I don't think he's done 100% of the work on the series.
Yeah, Dragon Ball is going to keep going no matter what anyway because.
Yeah, they like their money.
Yeah, I forget the name of the cat company already, but the company owns Dragon Ball, and
yeah,
there's going to be more Dragon Ball for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't think we should make this too much longer. But if you have something cool that you want to share with us about Toriyama, because I think everyone needs a chance to say something, tell us in the comments down below, and thank you, Toriyama. Thank you so much for all the years of wonder and amazement that you have brought to us.
Indeed.
And your legacy will live on. And as people have said online, you are an absolute legend, and you will remain that way. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you all for listening. We're gonna head on out, but y'all have a good one. I expect another episode later this week. We'll try to get another one together about video games and stuff that we normally talk about. But
yeah,
have a good one. We'll see you in the next one.
Take care.
Later.